Hey, welcome to another great episode of Get in the Flow. I'm the architect.
This is Doc.
Hey, we're going to have an amazing show for you today. So get ready to get in the flow.
Awesome.
Hey, welcome to another great episode of Get in the Flow. We are kicking your assets in gear. And Doc, we have got another great episode today. And I'm the architect.
This is Doc.
And we have a special guest. You guys might be looking at us like, okay, who's this third head over here? So we have another talking head.
Yep.
This is Armando Martinez from Hitch.
Yeah.
And you may recognize him. He's a celebrity guest star on one of our last podcasts. And since he lives here in Albuquerque, he decided to join us as a guest host today. So
Sweet.
Welcome to the show.
Happy to be here. Excited to meet Jamie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we got Wes. Why don't you introduce our guest?
Yes. So we have Jamie Cutino. Is that how we say the last name?
Correcto. Yes.
No. Jamie is one of our favorite people ever. She just lights up a room. She exhilarates. She excites like people just being in the same room with her, even if it's over the internet. She's incredible. We met her in season 8 of The Blocks, and we are absolutely honored to have her today to kind of tell us about her story. So she is the owner of Outsmart ADHD. All right. So a little bit of bio about Jamie. She is a master occupational therapist, master's in occupational therapy.
Yes. And I recently just passed my board, so I can just say I'm an occupational therapist. Yes.
Yeah, man. That's awesome.
That is huge.
Congratulations.
That's huge. That's a lot of
Thank
testing, a lot of
you.
schools to do that.
Yeah.
She's founder of Outsmart ADHD, and she is a co-founder of Be Unemployable. I love that. Can't wait to hear more about it. She's an ADHD coach and advocate, which I feel like she does everything. Recently became a TED Talk or TEDx speaker, right? Was on a TED Talk. Reality show alumni. She's doing so much crazy good stuff. Jamie has a challenging background, and she will not allow it to define her success. So we give it up to you. We're so glad to have you.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. You guys, I feel like I'm in like an exclusive club. Like there's no way you treat everyone this nice. Is there? It's all me. It's all about me.
You're one of our favorite people in the whole world right now during the next 20 minutes. How about that?
Love that. Yeah. Say likewise.
1 minute. Hype her up. Hype her up.
Hype it up. No, you're awesome. Okay, so Jamie, real quick, give us a real quick brief rundown, because you've got like this really cool backstory, that kind of a rough upbringing, but you've had amazing success that you don't allow any of that to define you. So tell us about that.
Yeah. So growing up, my mom was physically disabled, and my father is an addict, like drugs and alcohol. And obviously you can imagine very, very hard living with him for the 16 years that my mom was with him. And my mom, being the badass she is, even only making $800 a month on disability, when he treated her bad for the last time, she said, "I'm out and I'm done." We left that night. The cops told us, like, you should probably just find a different place to stay for the night. It was kind of weird. They kind of took my dad's side. And that night we left. We went to my oldest brother. He's 15 years older, his 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom house. And was there 7 of us that were living there, including my mom and I, because there was him, his pregnant girlfriend, 2 kids, me and my mom. So 6 of us were living in this 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom house.
Wow.
So I learned really quickly that I'm not going to take any crap from anyone, because my mom didn't, even though she didn't have the funds to get out. She was like, "I'm done." So very, very poor for the next couple years until I graduated. She passed away 3 months before I graduated high school. And since my father was really abusive, I didn't live with him. My mom, I don't know how, but she got a loan, and she had just bought this house 2 months prior to her passing. Like, we moved in on my birthday, December 2nd. February 18th, she passed away. And I'm all of a sudden living in this house on my own as an 18-year-old, trying to finish out my senior year. Then I've moved in to various states, because it turns out that I have ADHD, and I'm not happy just staying anywhere. It's been a whirlwind. I found out that I had ADHD only a couple years ago. Started a business while I was in my master's degree of occupational therapy, and founded that company. Hired a business coach who then wanted me to be a partner on another venture. And here I am. So it's
Wow.
been kind of a crazy last year. I've only been in business a little over a year.
Wow.
Wow.
That's amazing.
I would have thought you'd been in business for like 5 years with all the
Oh
things that
gosh,
you're
no.
doing. It is a high level. Like she's doing some amazing stuff.
Amazing. Okay, so we're gonna talk today specifically. We're gonna get into some specifics to ADHD. This is kind of your wheelhouse.
Mhm.
And so let's talk about ADHD and money and how that ADHD actually affects
Mhm.
people that have this, that struggle with this in their life, how it affects their ability to manage their money.
Yeah.
Let's kind of get into that.
So the ADHD brain is wired very different from a typical brain. And I mean, you can sub out typical for normal. That's just like in the neurodivergent world, we say like you're either like neurodivergent or neurotypical. So ADHD brain is very dopamine deprived. Dopamine is that feel good neurotransmitter. So as long as something terrible doesn't, bring down your day, someone with a normal or a typical brain feels pretty good. Someone with ADHD is always going to be trying to feel okay because they have that dopamine deficiency. So where money plays into this is that people oftentimes will spend a lot of money because, if you're going on Amazon, add to cart, dopamine click, you're getting that package into your house, dopamine click. So it can create almost like a spending addiction that is stemming from ADHD. There's also the aspects of, we call it ADHD tax, such as forgetting to return a package, not showing up to a doctor's appointment, and you're still going to get charged for the call or for the appointment. The things that we forget about, and then we end up getting charged a buttload of money for it. So there's a couple different ways where ADHDers really, it's a challenge finding that balance of where do we get that dopamine in a healthy way. So lots of intricacies with that.
Holy cow.
Yeah, something I never would have thought of. Yeah.
Well, I think I'm ADHD.
Do you? Yeah.
No, I do. My parents wanted to, not my parents, but the doctors wanted to put me on Ritalin when I was a kid because I was bouncing off the walls constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've got like low level.
Yeah, a little bit of similarities there that are hitting with you. Yeah, and I'm sure that again, immediately what goes to my mind is like, I want to work with you in how we can help with kind of both sides of that. That's just so funny. We'll end up partnering on something someday with Flowbester and everything that you have to have. But
Yeah.
Armando, anything that comes up to your mind?
It just feels very like you're genuine. It's for me as an archer and a hunter, like it's easy for me to teach something that I know a lot about. So for you to have experienced it and to have been through it, and I would say overcome it, after knowing you for 2-3 minutes, like you have your head wrapped around it, like you know how it affects you and other people, which is the important part because you're going to be now able to help. So whatever, like I'm excited to see what you're doing because the energy is there and the genuineness, which is that's the biggest part of it.
It's real.
Congratulations to you for adapting and overcoming. That's beautiful.
So as an occupational therapist, how do you help your clients that deal with this? Or what are some of the things that you do to help your clients?
Yeah. So ADHD specific, what an occupational therapist is, because a lot of people hear and they're like, are you kind of like a physical therapist? So like, kind of, not really. OTs can work with pretty much anyone from birth all the way to end of life. And really at the simplest way to explain it is like, there's a person, the person has a goal. There are barriers to get to the goal. How do we get over the barriers in a way that works for you? With resources that you have and things like that. So if it was someone that is struggling with, say, spending money, we'd be looking at, okay, is it the ADHD tax? Are we forgetting things? Let's figure out if we can set up a system of, okay, the second that you do that trial membership, we're going to put an event in your calendar for, a week out, and we are going to cancel it. You're going to have an accountability buddy who's going to check in with you to make sure that you canceled that, so that you're not getting charged $50 for something you may not have used, because, we have shiny object syndrome. We want to try everything and then we forget about it.
Hold on, squirrel.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And if it has to do with that dopamine, or like needing that dopamine, then we look at, okay, if it's that, what are some healthier ways that we can create dopamine? And I know everyone says, oh, well, exercise creates dopamine. Well, guess what? We're wired in a way where it's really hard to function in everyday life, and going for a walk might not always be applicable. We have a hard time getting dressed and taking a shower. So it's getting that, like being creative and figuring out, how are we going to get that hit of dopamine without spending $400 on Amazon.
Right. Yes.
Another way that ADHDers also struggle with money is that many of us have experienced what's called rejection sensitivity dysphoria. And it's not like a medical condition, but many people with ADHD, and science has shown this, have experienced exponentially more rejection than those who don't have ADHD, which means that we are going to be we're going to take things as rejection that are maybe a neutral circumstance. So,
Really?
yeah. So an example of that could be like, say I'm having a conversation with you guys and I'm like, hey, we're going to go back in time, like a year and a half, and be like, hey, I'm thinking about starting a business, and I think I could, I don't know, I have this really cool idea. What do you think? And you guys could say something like, that sounds like a lot of work. Have you thought about it? Now, somebody who is experiencing rejection sensitivity could take that as, they don't think I'm capable, they don't think I'm smart enough, they don't think XYZ, when really it's, oh, that sounds like a good idea. Have you thought about how to do it? Right? Because you guys are, genuine people, and you're not saying that you're not capable. So rejection sensitivity, we can go over and beyond for people to where it's only like almost like an unhealthy boundary, which can come into effect. Like, say you're going out to dinner with a friend and you're always the person to pay because you almost don't want them to feel that rejection. You don't want to feel rejected. Sometimes you feel like you have to like pay for that friendship. So there's so many intricacies to ADHD and money.
That's crazy. So do you find that within do you refer to somebody as an ADHDer? And is there like a title?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Is that what you call? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So do you find that depression and that they suffer from depression a lot with this as well?
Absolutely. Anxiety and depression, because when ADHD is unmanaged, it of course causes anxiety. There's going to be anxiety if you're having a hard time getting out of bed. There's going to be anxiety if you don't know how to keep a job. A lot of ADHDers are job hoppers. They could be crying on their way to work, not knowing how they're going to have that conversation with their boss. And that anxiety over time absolutely turns into depression, because you can only be defeated for so long until you're experiencing depression, whether it's clinical or whether it's a moment in time that feels like forever. There's a lot of people that have anxiety and depression. There's also a lot of people who are misdiagnosed with anxiety and depression when really ADHD is the underlying cause.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting.
So there's a big thing that I want to get into, because I want to tie all of this around to how much of a stud you are in the entrepreneurial space, and getting a degree, because I know that side of things. I know like going down the field of getting my doctorate and how much that takes to do that. Yeah. But then having an entrepreneur mindset throughout that, and starting businesses or a business while you're doing that, blows my mind. But I know you had said to us that ADHDers are more likely to become entrepreneurs. That's like the coolest phenomenon I've ever heard. So tell us more about that.
Yeah. So it's funny because my business partner, Maggie, she quoted this in her TED talk, that you are 300% more likely to become an entrepreneur if you have ADHD. And I think that there's a few reasons for this. The world is built more so for neurotypical people. It's it's not built for neurodivergent ADHD people. Our energies fluctuate throughout the day. We can have like a great plan, wake up and be exhausted, or we could get the next 3 weeks of things done that day, depending on how we're feeling that day. A typical 9-to-5 job with a 40-hour work week where your boss wants you to just be slow and steady doesn't really work very well with that.
All right, talk to me. Come on.
Yeah. And also us ADHDers were really great problem solvers, and oftentimes we will be blunt. So what I experienced in my last corporate job is that I was there for a very short time, but I was outperforming everyone, but I wasn't doing it the way they taught me to. I was doing it in a much more effective way. I was actually doing that and then like for like a couple hours a day, and then really working on my business for the other 6, but they didn't know because I worked remotely. But I tried telling my boss, what was that?
I said you were getting the job done.
Yeah, exactly. And and as you guys know, like we're not focused on how much time we spend doing things. We're focused on results. And I brought that into my corporate job. But my boss didn't like that. And I didn't last there very long. I was there for 4 months, and I said, my business started really taking off at that time. I'm like, you know what? I really don't need this job. You guys have no idea that I really don't need this job. I'm out. So I was out right before Christmas, this year. But yeah, a typical job is not really, it's not made for brains like ours.
That makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense because I would call myself like the 9-to-5 guy. That's what I've been taught.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned through my entire life. And I'm slowly breaking out of that.
We've been calling him Doc, but I think we're going to change his title to "This is the 9-to-5 guy."
That is hilarious. That is hilarious. And that makes sense. Right. And that makes sense that you guys are such a good duo because, like, if you do have ADHD, Josh, like we also need that stable person that will make sure that the details get done, because we can have 1,000 great ideas, but if we don't have that how guy with the why guy, everything goes to crap.
Thank you. I carry extra TP just in case.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's awesome.
That's fantastic. Okay, so with the last couple minutes that we're together, I got this is burning in my soul. Okay, burning. All right, I want to hear about your comedy routine.
Oh.
Oh my gosh! Tell us all about. You are like the new stand-up mic girl. Tell us all about it.
It's so I'm not a comedian. Like my friends have told me that I'm funny, but like I'm not a comedian. But I have this like, how hard could it be, Gene?
Right.
I did one.
We were just talking about that.
Yeah. I love that. I feel like to be an entrepreneur, you kind of have to have at least a little bit of that gene, because there's no way that you can't just be crazy. You have to also be like courageous. So my husband and I went with our other couple friend, and I was just going to check out the club and maybe do it the next week. And I was talking to one of the other comics, and I'm just like, well, how do you sign up? Like, what's sign up process? He's like, well, you just put your name on a piece of paper over there. And I'm like, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? Like, I'm going to bomb? Like, I have done way harder things than bomb in front of like 50 people. Like, I can do that all day long. It's fine.
And they're drunk.
Yeah.
Say that.
They're drunk. They're all drunk. It doesn't matter.
Right. They're all drinking. I won't lie. As soon as I put my name on the paper, I'm like, babe, I really need a drink. So I put down a couple drinks before I got up there, because I'm just like, I'm like liquid courage. But I didn't have anything prepared, because I had done it one other time in St. Louis, and I had prepared, and it felt a little forced. But I'm more funny when I'm off the cuff and just kind of vibing. So I'm just like, I'm just gonna put my name on. I had no idea what I was gonna talk about, even as I'm standing back there waiting for them to call my name. And I just started talking about a dating experience with a woman I had, and told the guys there that I empathized because she was crazy. And then just talked about my crazy life, and they thought it was funny. And afterwards, like the host like gave me a fist bump and told me like, definitely come back. The comics came over and told me, you're great. Like, how long you've been doing this? I'm like, today. But
How long was the set?
Yeah.
it was only supposed to be 2.5 minutes, but he let me run the clock to like 3 because I was funny.
All the
But
way
yeah.
through.
Yes.
Yeah, I got all the way to 3 minutes. But yeah, so very, very, very short time.
And this was just recent, right? Was it last week or something?
Yeah, last Wednesday.
That's awesome.
See,
Yeah.
I love it because it's you jumping out. That seems natural to me. Like I'm wondering why that wasn't just a normal thing, because you are one of the funniest, like enjoyable people ever.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you.
I'm gonna tell you, so like, any of you guys that weren't part of this, we were on this reality series together.
Mhm.
And part of this reality series was we got some one-on-one coaching. So we're sitting in the back, Jamie is up with our coach. And our coach goes, "Oh my God, you're so funny. Jamie does this thing like this." Oh my gosh, I am really? It was hilarious. I had never seen anybody sitting in a session like that jumped up onto your chair and you were like, you were jumping up and down on the chair, and I swear it was the best. It was absolutely.
Thank you.
You have so much energy,
Yes,
and
it's incredible.
you're super infectious. So I've got to know, and I think everybody else needs to know,
Mhm.
anybody that is struggling with ADHD, how do they find you?
Go to my website, outsmartadhd.co, not com.co. I also have a Facebook group that for women with ADHD. And you're welcome to hang out with me there. But yeah, definitely go to my website. You're welcome to send me a message there, and I will get back to you as soon as I can, because I have ADHD and sometimes that turnaround time is a couple days.
There's some greats. There's some greats. There's some greats.
Yep.
There's a disclaimer on the website.
I love that. Armando, any last comments that you can think
Thank
of?
you. Yeah, these guys were talking about you before we got on, and keep up the great work, the energy. The mission is right. So good luck to you.
Thank you so
you're
much,
awesome.
guys.
Yeah.
Likewise.
Well, hopefully we can have you back sometime. I mean, you're just a blast.
You are.
Yeah, I would love to be back anytime.
Awesome. Well, guys, this has been awesome.
Yes,
This
it
has been
has.
awesome. It's been a great episode of Get in the Flow with Jamie Cutino. And as always, we're kicking your assets in gear, so get in the flow.
Get in the flow, guys.